These include cooking, cooking things.
Hey everybody, welcome to Myopia Movies. This week we're talking about a revisited episode of Big Trouble in Little China, a classic kind of goofy movie with Kurt Russell and an excellent supporting cast, set kind of obviously in Little China in Chinatown, but it's like, I don't even know what it's cartoonish. There's sci-fi fantasy element kind of things. It's all over the place and a load of fun. If you have not seen this one, I almost recommend you watch it before we talk because we get off topic pretty quick here, but it's awesome. So thanks for doing all you do to keep us on the charts. Thanks for listening and supporting us. Thanks, everyone. Welcome to Myopia. This is week 3 of our Revisiting the First 100 month of season 11, ladies and gentlemen. Season 11. We're revisiting one of our earliest episodes of Big Trouble in Little China. Last time we did it, we had Mark and Mary on the podcast. And this time I've got some, I guess, the new regulars on the program. I'm your host, Nick Hoffman, Riffer on Cineprov, and on panel we've got
Charlie Rose,
Keiko,
Atlanta author Matthew W. Quinn, who was on the first time.
That's right. This was a season 2 episode. Season 2 episode, let's see if I can do that really quick. Episode 81, which tells you how long. Oh, I could have.
I think this was 2014.
That is, yeah, that would be right. And
10 years ago.
Yeah, about. And we are in episode 478 now. Almost exactly 400 episodes ago. So let's see if this episode's any better. I'm not optimistic. So tonight we were talking about John Carpenter's, God, I don't know if I want to give him credit for coming up with a parody, but this is kind of a parody film of the Fu Manchu kind of
Fu movie.
With the white savior character being the most incompetent of all of them.
Yep.
In the guise of course, Walt Disney's final words, which were, of course, Kurt Russell. The last thing Walt Disney ever said was Kurt Russell.
Why?
He was their young, hot actor at the time. He had just started their movie, The Computer Wears Tennis Shoes, which is another stay tuned of an episode.
Wait, y'all.
We have not done The Computer Wears Tennis Shoes.
I love all those Kurt Russell Disney movies of like the 1960s and 70s.
I'm going to have to look it up.
But he was like a child star, and apparently Walt was one of those guys who worked literally unto his deathbed, and the last things he ever said were Kurt Russell.
At least it wasn't Rosebud.
It would have been Oswald, the rabbit he lost to NBC, in fact.
What's Rosebud?
Citizen Kane?
Oh, I thought it was just the Sims money cheat.
Do you think we can do Citizen Kane on this show?
No.
Of course.
No.
It would just be Daniel being like, don't you understand? This is brilliant. And I'm like, buddy, it's a good movie. You got to come. No one can talk bad about this masterpiece. All right, buddy, your microphone has been turned off and just shoves me out of the way. No, I'm using yours.
You sort of sound like John Lithgow there for a second.
I kind of want to do that.
Citizen Kane?
Yeah,
No. It's just a bit with the Daniel.
Just stretch him to the chair and we're like, this movie, not so great. Just like, no, Daniel. We
would have liked better.
I mean, look at Daniel. Daniel probably has tremendously powerful jaws. Look at this chin. Differently. So
He reminds me of a scene from Xanadu.
That's right.
He'd chew through the gag and start yelling.
Man, you know what? I think The Simpsons did this scene better.
Hey, you know how in Forrest Gump when
Snapping your sandwich at the table. Just your. That's like, Daniel, now be careful. I'll have to give you a pillow. Oh, that's funny.
Do you think he liked Big Trouble in Little China? Was he?
He was on the first episode.
I can't remember.
It's John Carpenter. I mean, he does a fantastic job. And he does comedy. John Carpenter doing comedy. Who knew?
I mean, I've seen a lot of John Carpenter. I did not realize like this is the first one that I saw that was I thought actually funny.
Yeah,
I think it's
like
really
intentionally funny. Like
yeah.
they clearly decided that this was going to be a comedy.
A funny movie.
Yeah. And because of that, you have this, I don't know, like these characters that are out of old 40s noir or 40s Fu Manchu or 40s like, and they're over the top, right down to like Henson-esque creature effects.
Yeah,
Which when that shows up, I've seen this movie maybe a half dozen times. I forget every time they're about to face a Caco-demon from Doom.
yeah.
Like this thing, it's just
The flying eyeball thing.
That's also just in the last like 20 minutes of the movie, which is kind of mind blowing that there's none of that before that.
No.
So
I mean, the opening scene is. I thought it was Miyagi. I know. I'm admitting I was wrong, but the guy's Victor Wong, one of the greatest to ever do it. He is from Tremors, previous episode, and he's from all those Three Ninja movies. He's the uncle from the Three Ninja movies.
Ninja Turtles?
Three Ninja. the one with the fat kid.
Tum Tum.
Tum Tum, yes, thank you. Talking to the guy who plays Deep Throat from X-Files. And then Kurt Russell just shows up doing a John Wayne impression because that's what he committed to as Jack Burton.
I mean, he just decided that was all there was to it. He was going to be John Wayne.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, and then when Kim Cattrall finally shows up, you're like, I think I'd fight James Hong for 1986 Kim Cattrall. Like, she's looking fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, this movie is, God, it's one of those movies that I don't think you can make today because people can't take the joke. I mean, and again, this is not a podcast about woke culture, but like to have a mystical Asian man, but like he's also literally magic in this, to me is like the perfect joke. The idea that they show up and the strong-jawed white man is going to save the day and is incompetent in every fight against a dude who's actually magic, I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they have fun with it. Does someone want to give the plot synopsis?
I'll give it a try.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, so Jack Burton is a trucker, and he rolls into, I think, is it Los Angeles or San Francisco?
I believe it's San Francisco.
Okay, so he rolls into San Francisco to meet with his buddy Wang, and they start playing some sort of, various games in the parlor for money, and he needs the money because he's brought his girlfriend from China to America. Well, the problem is she gets kidnapped at the airport by a gang of the Chinese mafia.
Right.
And there's like multiple different Chinese mafia gangs here. One of them is led by a 3,000-year-old undead sorcerer who wants to marry and kill a woman with green eyes to get his body back. And Mao Yin, that's her name, is a Chinese woman with green eyes, which there aren't very many of them. And then he meets Kim Cattrall, who's also got green eyes. And there's big trouble in Little China.
Gracie Law.
There's big trouble in Little China. I mean, you're not wrong.
Nailed it.
No, that's it. And yeah, no, that's pretty much the thing in a nutshell. I do want to start from the, like, I don't want to say like the very beginning, but this is written like an old 40s noir. We're even introduced to Wang wearing a Stetson, or a fedora rather, like it is the old time. And like you said, they're just playing a game of gamble. We don't know what's happening. There's a guy with a chopstick hitting a bowl. He puts it down. People are throwing money. It's clearly a game of gamble. This is gamble 2 because there's not cards, so it's not gamble 1. But there's clearly a gamble going on. And in the end, our American Jack Burton with his Harley Davidson hat and the greatest tank top of all time, which is going to show up in the second act.
I mean, that tank top deserves like actual billing.
It does.
Like it's a character in and of itself.
Well, it's because his female body inspector shirt was in the wash that day. Like, and everything else you just buy from a boardroom, FBI. Yeah, just and he has every shirt you could buy from a boardwalk possible. Like the one with Calvin peeing on a Ford logo, and your standards. But yeah, so effectively after this game of mysterious gamble in the pre-dawn hours, they go double or nothing. Burton wins, and he's like, "Look, I can get you the money, but first I have to pick up my wife."
Well, but what
As one does.
what was the trick? So he was gonna slice the beer bottle in half with a machete,
Yeah.
and Kurt Russell is like, "Okay, but not that bottle. You got to do this bottle."
Right.
And because he's like, he doesn't want him to use his own bottle to do a trick, so he's going to use his own bottle,
Right.
and he couldn't do it.
It's a loaded bottle.
It's
Yeah, so like,
It's made of metal.
I don't know. I guess I like the pre-planning for him to have known that was going to happen.
These guys sound like they've known each other a while, so
I guess so. I guess they're trying to set each other up. I really liked that scene, though. I thought that was a good friendship. Like, it showed that they were friends.
Well, what I was going to say is, I don't know how this came together. The actor is Dennis Dunn, who plays Wang Chi, but him and Kurt Russell have some damn good chemistry.
Really?
No, they do. They
Really?
really do.
Like, and what I like about this just in general, like, there's a movie, there's a book I've read, which I recommend, called Interior Chinatown, and it's about an actor who wants to go from, it's the joke that they make, he go from laundry guy to kung fu master, and it's just kind of like the interior politics of being an Asian actor, and it's told in fiction. It's really well done. But if you click on any of these guys' IMDb credits, they're all in the same movies together, because that's what it is. He's the young guy, then he becomes the slightly older guy, then he becomes the kung fu guy, then he becomes the wise old Chinese man.
Well,
Right? Like,
yes. If you're talking about the Asian movies, definitely. But you'll also note that clearly John Carpenter has some favorites in this.
oh, absolutely.
I mean, he's constantly bringing back Kurt Russell. Looks like Dennis Dunn and Victor Wong are both in Prince of Darkness as well.
Great film.
Amazing film.
I just read that this movie, the production was rushed to try to beat The Golden Child, which is one that I loved as a kid.
stay
That's a
tuned.
strange one. Yeah. Have you? When was the last time you saw it? Just curious.
As a kid.
Okay. I mean, again, I have not seen it in a long time. That's a strange film, because it's Eddie Murphy, and once again being a mystic guy from another country.
Yeah.
That might be one we should do for the show, just because I will have gone in having not seen it in like 15, 20
I would like that because I recall loving the movie. So.
You know, that it fits with the original theme, so I say do it.
We should. We
Do it.
And it's just interesting that this movie was trying to beat that movie, but in my mind, the feeling of the time of these two movies don't really match. This feels more 80s to me, and that feels 90s to me. So I don't know, but it could just be because I remember watching it when I was a kid in the 90s. But
Well, and this is trying to feel older, right? Because it has that 40s vibe.
It is really trying to capture, like the vibe of these, Fu Manchu, Kung Fu style movies.
And I mean, like, that one also has vague magic, but the dude is shooting like Emperor-esque lightning bolts from his fingers, and and Sub-Zero shows up. Like,
The three Lord Raiden knockoffs, I call them, except Lord Raiden is...
I thought that too. And actually, I was going to ask, how was the timing of this in Mortal Kombat?
well, this is about a decade before Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, so it is about 10
The
years.
movie, yes, but the game, no.
It is
92.
yeah, Lord Raiden and the Thunder and the Storms, Thunder, Lightning, and the other guy are like knockoffs of an actual Chinese god.
No, but you're right. It is Thunder, Lightning, and in the way that it's like...
Rain,
Thunder, and Lightning, the three.
Lightning. Yeah, no, they're just not as in. The third guy is not as interesting. Although, I do like how there's just gangs in this world.
Yeah.
Because we have like a West Side Story in an airport.
Well, they all wear the same outfits, which is black,
Right.
with like a colored headband.
Yeah. Which again, to me, is fun because like we just as we are recording, we did Xanadu today, but. It's like that end scene where everyone's just got their own thing, and they're just gonna go.
Yes.
Well, the triads or tongs are a real thing. I just didn't know they were in America.
Tong War. Yeah, they were.
They were?
Dude, there's a whole Tong War. I could do a lesson on an American in a U.S., but at one point in San Francisco, there was two tongs, and the names sound racist, but they were really called the Ongyang Tong and the Wong Tong. And they controlled parts of San Francisco, and the Ongyang Tong is the bigger tong. And there was essentially just this, it was extortion racket. Like they own one theater versus a grocery store, yada, yada, yada. And so the way they would settle this stuff is they would don armor and have a sword show off in the middle of town, which sounds as exciting as you think it is. And so all the drunk Americans are just lining the road, standing on top of bars. But like the actual mafia, they work it out with money exchange. It's just all a show of force. But the Americans are like, fight each other. And they're just shoving on them.
Sounds like pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And so backing one group into a corner. And so one tongue just wipes them all out. And then it starts a Tong War, which lasts for decades, with the final killing happening 20 years later in Cleveland. And then they just arrest all the Chinese people while they solve it. Like all the time. And then the white people rob them blind while that happens. But like that's the Tong Wars in America. It's a real thing that happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Nick.
Yeah, Dr. Hoffman. Yeah. Dr. Hoffman. But yeah, so that's what's going on here. There's just a couple tongues going at it because they're trying to compete with Lopan, the mystical Chinese.
The mystical Chinese 2,000-year-old demigod.
He was accursed by the first emperor, which means he's like 200 years before Jesus.
Yeah.
By Wu, the first Chinese emperor.
I don't think I would have taken that on. You know, I think if
take on the first emperor.
Yeah, like if he's like a real magic man, I feel like I would be like, all right, you know, take your bride.
Well, I guess you don't love your spouse enough.
Marry, kill, whatever. Well, he hadn't met her yet.
No, he just needs her green eyes for magic reasons.
He did the Danny, the friend. He hadn't met her yet.
Yeah,
he just saw pictures.
I think they knew each other back in China when they were little.
It was supposed to arrange.
Yeah, but I guess I got the impression that it was all just like through letters and stuff.
I mean, that doesn't even touch on Egg Chi yet.
Egg Shen.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you see at the beginning of the movie, he's getting interviewed by a lawyer about all this stuff, and at the end of the little prologue, he actually does lightning magic.
Yeah, to prove he can do it. And then the lawyer is the guy from Deep Throat from X-Files, the first season of X-Files.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
the guy who helps out Mulder the whole first season and then dies at the end of the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
It's not as fresh.
That I recognized him and he was like, I was elbowing my wife. I'm like, it's the guy from X-Files. She's like, sure, honey, thank you. She's like, sure it is. I'm looking for Kurt Russell, and he is a slice of beef in this.
I do love him.
He is a handsome man.
Yes, he is really working. But Sunder.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Is he the fat one?
No,
none of them are fat. He's the muscular one.
He's the one who's like 6.5 feet tall. He's the one who looks like a Bond henchman.
Yeah.
His name is Carter Wong.
He's the one that sort of exploded from frustration at the end.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
He's also in Rambo 3. He's one of the guys.
Well, do you prefer I said thick?
No, dude. He literally was the martial arts expert who trained the Hong Kong PD.
In real life?
In real life. I looked this up. I was like, holy shit. And I mean, if you look him up, he has something like 100 credits where he's just kung fu guy. Because he like these dudes actually walk the walk. Like they are really quite good at it, which is why the fight scenes work in my head, because everyone can fight except for Kurt Russell, who just has a gun. And then he gets knocked out. And so the people who fight actually fight. And he's like, don't you worry.
That is like the smartest thing they could have done.
Yeah. I mean, it's Carpenter understanding the media.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what John Carpenter's always been good at. How do I keep this cheap and small, but also take advantage of what people already know about how these things are supposed to work?
Exactly. No, and that I think that's part of the magic, is that it really captures the feel thematically of these old-timey, movies. But it also leaves a little room to parody them.
I don't have that background to like recognize that it's trying to capture an old kung fu film, but like knowing that makes much more sense to me.
Sure.
And I feel like my one kind of issue with the movie is I feel like there's too much just fighting. I like, oh, I know, I'm sorry. I like comedy movies. Like, I'm cool with comedies with fighting. It's just, I feel like I have a bucket of how much fighting I can handle in a movie. And when it gets to a certain point, I'm like, it's too much. And this one is too much for me.
Well, the fighting is very much showmanship. I mean, it really is. It's putting it on display rather than being something to advance the plot.
Right. And I think that's just a me thing. Like, I don't like action scene. Like, I hate, like, you know, shaky camera kind of stuff. I don't like the fighting.
I remember watching it. Okay, so I don't remember individual scenes, but I remember watching it. I mean, well, I was watching it obviously like this past week
For this,
and I'm watching it, and they're doing the big fight scene, and so you've got Rain fighting Wang Chi, and I thought to myself, what would make this perfect is if they jump at each other and cross blades in the air. And sure enough, like 5 minutes later, that happened. Now, I don't remember if I remember that from the original time I saw this, because I want to say the last time I saw this was probably in the mid-90s, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure.
Or if I was just harkening back to what I loved about
like what you would expect.
kung fu movies, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, the original episode, my review of the movie later, I called this like, you know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, because there is so much like flying stuff going on here.
But I will say the difference is there's no wire work. These people are actually jumping, like truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
And just for a minute on John Carpenter, like, it's amazing how many of his films we have done and how almost none of them are the same genre.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, we've also done movies of his, like Escape from New York, which is also Kurt Russell, and The Thing, which is also Kurt Russell. So, John Carpenter, Kurt Russell, 3 movies, 3 completely different movies.
Yep.
And also, John Carpenter does all the music for his movies. So, he did the soundtrack for this and those 2 as well.
And not just the soundtrack, but the song that is sung during the title, the closing credits, Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes, he did.
Lyrics and all.
How dare they go to Randy Newman for Toy Story? It should just they're doing random stuff. I mean, and again, we haven't even done some of his stranger ones, like In the Mouth of Madness or They Live. But we have done, or The Dog.
They Live. You must do They Live.
I know. We've done The Thing and Christine and Escape from New York and Escape from L.A. and Halloween and, of course, this twice now. But, like, the man just worked.
Oh, yeah.
And then goes to Mars bombed, and so he's like, you know what? I'm just going to smoke weed and hang out. How are you doing? Because he's John Carpenter and he does what he likes.
So one of the things that's really hard to do is to give an effective summary of this movie because it is all over the place.
It makes no sense. I mean, and Matt, what you said is correct. Yeah. The whole rest of it is them now trying to get the wife back.
Yeah.
But, like, it doesn't highlight the fact that there's literally a Guys and Dolls style fight or a West Side Story style fight where they're, like, literally punching and kicking and breaking legs, and then all of a sudden, magic happens.
Yeah, these guys just show up out of nowhere, literally riding lightning down.
Showing it and then doing flippy doos with swords like they're villains in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah.
Right?
It is insane.
One guy has like a bladed like back scratcher in each hand.
I think it's called a tonfa.
You are probably right. But at the same time, our hero has a truck and he's going to just try to drive over them and they vaporize through the damn truck.
It's the American way.
At the front of his truck has one of those women's silhouettes and it says all an ass on it.
Which is absolutely perfect. Perfect.
Oh my God. And he has the hat on that says Harley Davidson and it's all nonsense. Like, And because then Lopan shows up, and we're like, what in the hell? Because, again, I know I'm going to keep bringing it up, but Kurt Russell is doing a John Wayne.
Well, Kurt Russell's doing a John Wayne, and James Hong is doing a fantastic job as Lopan because he alternates between being serious and evil and weirdly creepy with a little high, girly, like teenage girl voice.
Yeah.
And he looks at Kurt Russell, and Kurt Russell goes, what the hell is he? And he just goes, white guy, and just, and he blinds him with his mouth. And you're either in at that point or you're not. Like,
Exactly.
It's not going to make any more sense before the end of this movie. This thing, it's remarkable because this is also a stunt show spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're in this like fake alleyway, and you just have Kung Fu guy flying through the air. It's up there with like a Naked Gun movie or Black Dynamite.
Yeah.
How absurd this is.
Yeah.
Because then they like duck into the back room, and I forget what the name of the tong that they're allied with, but the people helping us are the ones wearing black but with the mustard yellow head.
Yeah, with the beige yellow.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, yeah. So we're at Cobra Kai here, but they do everything because this movie technically is about eyes, right? We highlight Kurt Russell's beautiful baby blues in every shot, though he is breathtaking.
He's got those Disney eyes.
He does, and this is prime Kurt Russell. Not that there's ever a bad Kurt Russell, but this is when like between 81 and 95. That's when he's like
when he's just awesome, handsome, funny, adorable, sexy, ripped.
He's
so much.
But he's like that 80s ripped that's like thick ripped.
He's just in good shape. Like he's not juicing. He's in good shape.
It's not lean though. Like he's like
No.
like
It's not washboard ads.
yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm healthy, I eat, but I also work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is before we discovered that carbs were the problem, right? Like he's still already he can do 100 push-ups in like a minute, but he's still ordering the cheeseburger and fries, right? And he's having a beer with it. It's like there could be like a Schlitz.
That's the dream,
right? That's right. Don't worry, there's ketchup, so I have my vegetable. Like it's that kind. And around here is when we meet Kim Cattrall.
Oh yes,
Because we're like back at Eggs, whatever it is. It's like a restaurant. Like
I think Wang owns the restaurant, and Egg is a guy that drives a tour bus.
Yeah, he does.
The tour bus is something.
yes.
Yeah,
But Kim Cattrall is playing a lawyer named Gracie Law,
which is right off of a billboard.
There's a fan theory I heard somewhere that it's actually an anglicization of a Chinese LAU.
Sure, why not?
And
I wouldn't disagree.
So I mean, she's lecturing Jack about being an outsider when she's white, but if she's like a Chinese great grandfather somewhere, who knows?
Well, that's kind of the point at the end of it, right? Like that she has the green eyes and she's allowed to
Green eyes and blonde.
and vaguely an Asian in the back, I guess, something like that. This is also where we meet Donald Lee, who plays Eddie Lee, the guy in the suit, the guy who's the
best friend.
The best friend, right?
Yeah.
And he's also and again, something I like about this from Carpenter, these are all dudes who play background Chinese actors who he's actually giving lines and giving credit to.
Oh, yeah.
Because the most incompetent people in this are the white people, so just let them take over the plot for a bit. But Kim Cattrall shows up, and he's wearing a silk kimono and sipping tea at her, and she has no time for him.
Absolutely not.
Because he's Jack Burton. And I do just like how everyone talks about Jack Burton, like, hey, is that Jack Burton? Jack Burton? Jack Burton? And he's just...
Everything was Jack Burton's this.
Because he has wandered onto the set of his own movie, and he's very happy about this, but he is not the most important person in his own movie, which is fantastic.
By the way, I just want to say, Pork Chop Express.
On the side of the truck, there is a pig running, and it says the pork chop is red. And it's, oh, God.
I think it's his call sign, too.
It is.
Yeah,
Yes, we first,
Trevor thing?
yeah, we first meet him. He's just going full talk radio on CB with everything.
Dude, it is west of the Rockies. Hello. Like, it is true, like, nighttime AM. It's fun as
Was
shit.
this a thing at this point? Like truckers? Like,
My Sweet Summer Child.
Oh.
So there's a movie called Convoy.
I know that one. I know
Okay.
that one. I like
Yeah.
that one.
Well, and there's
But also Smokey and the Bandit.
Over the Top.
Over the Top. Okay, so again, I'm showing my age. I had a car, obviously, when I turned 16.
Did you just start your story with you got a car?
I got a car when I turned 16, and I had a CB radio in it.
The Citizens Band, you see.
Yes, exactly. Because one, in my house, we were a little bit, radio.
Well, I'm from the
experts.
country, so we also had CB
Exactly.
radios because
Um,
you're nosy, and that's
well,
like
yeah,
what
but
you do.
you're nosy, but also it was in the 90s before there were cell phones.
Yeah.
That was how you had emergency.
What was your name?
Okay, did you have a call sign?
Oh, you have to. You have to.
Of course. Mine was just Chuckles.
Chuckle. Okay. I'll take Chuckles. That's
Yep.
not bad.
Yep, mine was just Chuckles.
Keiko, did you have one?
No, I wasn't old enough to have a name. I just listened. I wasn't.
But
like,
yeah,
to it
everyone
on-
loved the CB. I remember when we would travel on the road, we would listen to the CB.
Now,
Yeah.
I will, to her point, though, a movie about a trucker in 1985 is a bit passe.
It's after that.
No, it
That's
is.
like
It
the
is.
70s.
I mean, because like when you're talking, the Cannonball Run and the Smokey and the Bandit, you're talking the 70s.
Was there anything since then that was like trucker centric?
Between then and now?
Yeah.
I'll say the closest we get, and it's not really truckers, but it's close, is Armageddon feels very much, because it's about the working class guys
Yeah.
who are doing the thing, and they're going to save the world because of their working class knowledge. It turns out that because he works on an oil derrick, he's the smartest man on the planet, right? Like, that's kind of what it feels like to me. But no, that's something that really was a genre that died in the 70s, and now this is 1985 with magical Asian people. And so, no, none of it fits.
I'm just curious because my stepdad is a truck driver, so
No,
I just kind of.
no.
Big Ben, this is Rubber Duck. My girlfriend got kidnapped by a horny undead sorcerer.
Kind of.
I thought it correct except for pork chop. This is pork chop.
Yeah, this is Pork Chop.
Well, technically, Over the Top came out after this.
It's a canon movie. Does that count then?
Good point.
This is so random, but Matt and I were in Boy Scouts together, and it shows. But our scout leader, World War II vet, he was a trucker. So to become an Eagle Scout, to actually leave and graduate, so to speak, we had to get the truck transportation merit badge. So you better believe I have it, and I know how to use a radio, and I know how to. I earned a merit badge about using a truck.
Wait, so you have your license? You have a
No, God, no. I was 17, but I have a merit badge, you see, and that's as important as a trucker's license. But yeah, no, I did. R.I.P.
It's always been very interesting to me, like, because my stepdad
Sure.
was a truck driver, and he was like a long haul truck driver. So
Oh yeah,
it's like it's hard on a person
it is.
to do that much driving all the time. So he's got stories that I'll share offline.
Oh, I'll tell you what. No disrespect to truck drivers, because that's how I get my McRib, the most important meal of my day. And also, now, does he have any stories about magical Asian people he met?
He had no.
It took longer for you to say no than I expected, but
he has one story that I won't share on the podcast.
Okay.
It's not about Asians, but it is about magic.
oh, there you go. UFOs,
Something like that. Something like that. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So around here, there's an illusion that the Tong that kidnapped her owns a brothel, and so Jack dressed like a tourist businessman, goes into the brothel to see if it's the woman at hand, right? Ming, what's her name? Ming?
Yeah, Ming Yao. Mao Yin.
Mao Yin.
Thank you.
Got him mixed up with, the basketball player for a second.
I wonder if we have fans that try to guess, because I've said on the podcast before that we do 2 episodes. And I wonder if they try to guess which one is the second episode we do at the night. Because the first one is so much more tight.
Just tell how unhinged Keiko is, and you'll know.
How unhinged the host gets, please. You with your aplomb and grace, and me with my, what was her name? Just in the background. You're...
For a second, he sounded like Morty. Come here, Morty. We got to save the green-eyed ghost and the Chinese sorcerer, Morty. Come on, Morty.
Oh my God.
We are people. We live in memes. Anyways.
Do you even know what a meme is, Marty?
Oh, mercy. So, anyway, this is where kind of the plot comes together. She's not in the brothel, but while they're there, magic is happening. There's earthquake magic. I don't know what to call it. And our 3... We see our 3 villains off in the background. That's what's causing, presumably, the storm that comes up, right?
Don't they come in? Isn't she in the brothel and they break her out to take her to Lopan?
Yeah, the lightning, thunder, and rain attack the brothel to get her and take her back to Lopan.
Right. But our heroes don't see exactly what's going on. Everyone's running from the building. But we know now that Lopan is involved once again. And we end up going into the shipping company warehouse of Lopan's gang. What is always a bad idea. They get into an elevator and start going into the sub-basement of Lopan's gang.
Which is really just an elaborate death trap.
This is the elevator that has knockout gas in it.
No. This is the elevator that actually floods.
This is the one where they know what they're going into yet, right?
No, this is...
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is the thing about this movie. There's so much going on that you sort of lose track because everything sort of blends together.
What are they going to have to get into?
There's so many elevators. There's several elevator scenes.
Well, because there's the one that's inside the Buddha that just goes one direction.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a redneck Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
A redneck
Surely it's a hero.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones is just a lazy sack of shit, but you're the hero. That's what's going on.
Oh, you sound just like Kurt Russell doing the CB.
No kidding. That was the joke.
Nailed it. Control save, nailed it.
Oh, goodness. So you're right. So they go into Lopan's shipping place. They go into the sub basement. They're trapped and they're starting to get flooded. Now here's the thing: I didn't realize just how expansive the underground parts of San Francisco, specifically Chinatown, are, because it's like multiple levels with huge like parlor rooms and with all these stones.
Yeah, it's all really down there.
Elaborate. It's insane. It's insane. They just keep going back and forth. The thing about this movie is that so much is going on at any given time. It's hard to keep track of the plot.
Yes, and I will say that that's one of the things like okay, I feel like we've alluded to this several times. This is the same night as we're doing Xanadu. Xanadu's plot is very, very simple. This plot is not so simple for me.
Simple. Well, I mean, it is simple. They have to get in, get the girl, defeat the evil.
Right, but there's
But the problem is there's so many twists and turns.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, okay, we get in. Now we have to fight these group of individuals. Okay, we get a little bit further. Now we have to fight these other individuals. Now we get a little bit further.
They are you're supposed to know and remember. And you know what other movie I had this problem with? It was the freaking Ninja Turtle movie where they were introducing this ancient lore, and I'm like thinking like, do I need to write it down? Like I need to remember all of this, this background and whatever. And you don't.
So that brings up a very good point. This is reminiscent of it was being adapted from something, and there's a larger backstory.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's
all in John Carpenter's head.
No. I think that's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's like, this is book 3 of the Jack Burton saga.
Yeah.
But it's actually chapter 1. Like, and it's funny you say that, because the bless your heart.
Me?
Because you've started becoming a regular in the last 2 seasons. So you desperately had to have an entire myopia education in just 12 months or 16 months or however long it's been. Because you were in episodes in the past, but recently you've been a regular. You've been on almost every episode, which more power to you, because I can barely handle it. We appreciate you here. It's just funny to see how we've broken you down, because you're like, now you're up to 3 categories of bad movies. And I can tell you, in another season, you'll be up to 4 or 5. Because that's just the world we play in. Because I had the same thing, because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original, was literally our first episode.
Yeah.
And I was watching it and having a good old time, and I was like, no, we're watching it to be critical. And I'm like, all of this doesn't matter. And rewatching it most recently, I'm like, you're right, Hoffman, it doesn't matter, but that's the point. They're just like, we need mystical nonsense. Let's come up with some mystical nonsense. And in the second one, it's just like, man, there was some ooze. There was some Nickelodeon gag, and that's where it all comes from. And that's kind of what this is. It's just like, there's a room with 500 Buddhas on both sides. And then they're just like, and the way that, if I recall, the way they capture Jack Burton is he takes out like a clown nose and goes, and it turns into a projectile, and it hits him right in the sternum, and it goes down, and we're just like, that's the movie. That's what we got. And that's also, and Charlie, you're going to have to help me with this part, but that's when the super old man shows up, and that's Lopan, not in magic face.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently, like, he's a living ghost.
Oh, yeah, this was freaky.
So, like, either he's the old man, or he's the living ghost, and he can walk through walls, and he doesn't have substantial form, which is important because the only way they can actually kill him is for him to get physical form after marrying one of the green-eyed woman.
Bride.
Yeah, the green-eyed bride. But before he gains immortality by killing.
He has to kill her, yeah.
Yes.
That's the deal.
And the whole, like, in-between thing is, like, and you said it right, but, like, the way we get the depiction is him as the crypt keeper or him in this kind of ghostly white makeup.
Yeah.
And so in between, it's just him with less makeup on.
Yeah.
I do dig the simplicity of the costume, right? Because, again, at this point, we have Jack Burton in the greatest tourist tank top that has ever been. Because there's, like, a guy in a kabuki mask and a rising sun on one side, which is funny because it's wrong. This is Chinese people and he's wearing a Japanese tank top. So we're already there. And then we have the set of what Pier 1 Imports would be if it was only Chinese art. Because it is the most cliche.
Which is already about like 50%.
Yes. But let's make it better by outlining everything with neon.
Neon.
I mean,
right.
I was sort of here for that. I was like, oh, now they're getting me.
And then, like, and again,
because nothing says it's creepy.
Ancient China.
It's creepy ancient China by having a dragon with purple outfit.
And meanwhile, it's perfect because we're going to see every set that they have, and each one is somehow more cliched and worse than the last, right? And meanwhile, we should also mention here, other than Kurt Russell and Kim Cattrall, there's another friend named Kate Burton who plays Margot.
And what was her role?
She's just supposed to be a love interest for one of the other guys. Like, that's her purpose.
But, like, everyone else here is an Asian actor, which is the point, which is that the white people have no role here. Like, literally, they're not.
Well,
It's Clark's. I'm not even supposed to be here today, man.
I think this is John Carpenter saying, "Hey, let's just make this ensemble real quick."
Yeah. No, it's 100% because meanwhile we're being introduced to the other characters in other ways. Like we see Rain, Thunder, and Lightning not in their magical outfits, and they have these kind of cool suits
with the head with the sort of rice picker.
Yeah.
It's also rice patty, but it's like shoot. And it's also just like the scaffolding.
This is like the Mortal Kombat sort of.
Yeah,
called
heady shades of.
There's not a Raiden skin that you can get of this outfit instead with the stupid stupider. Stupider, because it is so big he can't. Well, it is the O.J. Simpson afro bit from Naked Gun. Like it's so big.
Oh my god!
He has to duck through the door. R.I.P. O.J. Simpson, I guess. Yeesh. Ooh, a tough crowd.
All right.
Too soon.
God help me. But at one point, like literally, speaking of how cheesy this is, Kurt Russell and Wang Chi are just walking through a skeleton factory. Like,
Yeah, I don't even know it.
walking through a haunted house, and they're having their heart-to-heart talk after. I mean, I mentioned this. The foam ball knocks them out. It turns into a CGI foam ball for a second, and then they get tied to these. They're like wheelchairs, but they're not really wheelchairs.
Yeah, no, that was really strange. They kept wheeling them around in wheelchairs.
And this is where they talk to old Lopan. But when they break free, they end up wandering through the skeleton factory.
Oh, that's the one where he almost gets like knocked down a pit in a wheelchair.
Yeah, that's right.
But
And
he's
he
like,
grabs it.
Yeah, and
I think you like this movie. And there was talk about it.
this weird sloping. I mean, it's like someone was insane when they developed the underground parts of like Chinatown.
I'm crying, but it's good. Don't worry.
And I also want to make it clear here, if you've not been to San Francisco, they're very close to the bay here. There's not a lot down.
Yeah, there's
you
not
can
gonna
go.
be not gonna be an
Yeah,
underground.
you're gonna hit water soon.
You're right though. Like this is more like the Ninja Turtles, where there's just sewers under New York, and you're just like, there's an arcade here that doesn't work underground. Like, but anyway, like around here is where Kurt Russell gets his gun, which is even better because this makes him cockier and therefore much worse at what he's doing.
Yeah, you're right. He's worse with a gun.
He is.
Because the first is like, it's really good.
I was like, yippee-ki-yay, shoots the sky, a stone falls and knocks him unconscious, which is chef's kiss. That's so choice. Oh, God. We've been talking for 50 minutes about this movie, and I feel like we haven't done anything.
We've only gotten through the first like 30 minutes, maybe.
Well,
Well, we're past that.
we're about halfway, but even still, like,
Has Gracie been kidnapped yet?
yes, about an hour ago.
Yeah, she's been like, we know where she is.
No, because they haven't left the first time in which she gets grabbed by the
Yeti.
the Yeti monster. Thank you.
I will also give a doff of the cap to when Old Man Lopan turns into Ghostface Lopan, where he's in the wheelchair, he gets a phone call, he gets off the phone call, his eyes glow, his entire skull illuminates, he stands up and walks through a fucking wall.
Yeah,
That's cool. And
that's cool.
That's that John Carpenter magic. And I mentioned that scene particularly because that's when the kidnapped bride we first see as he like hypnotizes her.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's on this like slab, and he's like kind of, and they do it where it's a double exposure. So he's there, but she's in a different frame, and so it's like he can't actually touch her, which is that John Carpenter simple camera trick thing that he was really good at in the 80s. The thing that makes like Halloween so scary. Like, he's good at it. Yeah. This is where we also learn that Wang Chi is actually good at everything that Jack Burton pretends to be at, because we actually start having more fight scenes where everyone's...
And he's like an impressive fighter.
Yeah.
So everybody's kung fu fighting.
Okay. Now
We were waiting on it.
we're
Those 30 somethings were fast as lightning.
Lightning, thunder, and rain.
It was a little bit frightening,
Oh,
but they fought with expert timing.
And there we go. Have I mentioned recently how hot Thunder is?
Yes.
I think he said that.
I also do like how, like, when they dress him not as Thunder, he's wearing a suit that is, like, a size too small. So, like, he's a...
So it shows off his muscles.
Dude, he is big as a house.
Oh, he is insane.
That's what they did with Arnold in the Terminator. They dressed him in clothes that were too tight to make him look even more jacked, and they dressed Kyle Reese in, like, bigger clothes to make it look like he was a famine victim.
And he has this face that he makes as, like, the villain, where it's like he's trying to open his mouth, but his lips are too tight, and so it's like he's like tearing himself apart.
He's trying to make him. He's like a human pufferfish,
He is.
and
Okay, this is unrelated. So I was trying to think. I was trying to think of a movie that was like kung fu that I liked, which is House of Flying Daggers.
okay. I was like, please don't say Kung Fu Panda.
No, I do like Kung Fu Panda though.
Still in theaters. So
Yeah, we just saw number 4. But it was House of Flying Daggers, and they're the Tang Dynasty in that movie.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay. No, but I was just trying to look up a picture of Thunder. That's all I was doing when I picked up my phone. Sorry, guys.
I often look at pictures of Thunder.
Oh, Carter Wong. Okay.
Yeah. Google shirtless Carter Wong.
Shirtless.
Anyway, so back to the movie.
So I just got a suggested thing for shirtless men. Should I just click on that, or?
You're on the right path.
I'm halfway there. Okay.
Living on a prayer. Anyway, we're having fun here, Chuck.
He's large.
Yes.
Previous episode, Popeye. He's large.
Oh God. Please no.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, where do you want to go? The women prison?
Yeah, I think that's best way to put it. Best place to go from here.
Yeah, so, I mean, at this point, they're looking for our main characters. Kim Cattrall has been captured. Margot has been captured. And they're still looking, of course, for Wang Chi's wife. And they end up in, like, this prison where they're holding the women folk that they have, presumably for prostitution. And Margot is writing, like, in her journal.
Yes.
Because Margot is in a different movie altogether, which to me is needed, because otherwise this is a really dark scene. And so the fact that most of the characters don't really get how dark this scene is. Meanwhile, they have literally hogtied Kim Cattrall.
I was like, is she? She is.
Like her boots are tied to her wrist, and she's like, and like she got mouthy. Like literally, they have this moment where
I think that was probably like someone's fetishes speaking out.
I mean,
Like a Quentin Tarantino moment.
Yeah, like I'm going to write this into the movie because I want to suck.
They were like, oh, let's do something called
Toes.
shibori.
How's it? What do you think? What are your thoughts, Nick?
so today in class, no, I forget what they had a quiz of some sort, and we were talking about the 1970s and 80s, and they had a quiz on something, and someone was looking for something. I don't even remember what, but they ended up trying to find it by searching the term feet pics.
Oh no!
And then I was like, excuse me? And she goes, a lot of very strange things came up. I'm like, no, you cannot blame me. I did not put feet pics on your quiz. Like, that's not how these things go. And you said Quentin Tarantino. My brain came to a screeching halt. Hey, you know what they did? They ended white slavery here, and they freed all the women. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Kim Cattrall, he frees her. Yada. We're here.
And they're getting ready to leave, and then as they get out to was it Egg Shen's tour bus, unfortunately Kim Cattrall's character is kidnapped by the Yeti.
Okay, So first, I will point out one of my favorite lines. They escape by jumping into the sewers and like escaping out, again, like the Ninja Turtles. And our hero Jack is last to make sure everyone gets out. Kim Cattrall is also trying to be the hero, so she's waiting. And he goes, "Are you gonna move? Because you keep touching me with your body underwater." And she goes, "You're touching me," and it's funny, like because it's the worst and best and most awkward sexual chemistry that any like. I mean, they're good-looking people. It's fine, but it's just very much like, I'm trying to be the hero, and she's like, "No, I'm trying to be the hero."
It is funny that I will say that the interplay between them was pretty effective,
And it works. And it works out.
I wonder if Kurt Russell would have chemistry with anybody though. Like, I wonder if it's just him.
Yeah, he would have chemistry with anyone.
Case in point, the movie Splash.
Isn't it him, Kurt Russell, in the movie Splash?
What's the one where he has...
Overboard.
Overboard.
Sorry, Overboard.
One of my
You mean
favorites.
the one that he did with his wife?
No. But my
Was she his wife then?
he was. They were married. But my point is, without those two, it's a horrifying movie.
Absolutely.
You went on the word the whole.
I really hear us.
That's fair. That's fair. Because I thought you were trying to say he didn't have any chemistry with Goldie Hawn. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
with his real life wife?
Always cook dinner for us and clean up after all my.
That was the horse movie.
No, these little shit boy here, you clean after him. No, that's my point. Like, without the chemistry of Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, no, that movie's a nightmare.
That's why the remake. That's why the remake.
Right?
That's the whole point.
No. But in real life, they're not married.
No, in real life they are married.
No.
I thought they weren't.
They're not married. It's like a thing. Like they have like the
Couple, they've been together.
a couple. They've been together forever, but they're like
They were a couple.
Yeah.
They were
I just want the record to be accurate.
absolutely
Kidding.
absolutely. But
Yeah, without these two, it's a Criminal Minds episode.
which is why when they remade this movie, like I would say,
I
like
haven't seen the remake, but
Some years
they
ago?
remade it twice though, right? Didn't they do
No.
one that was swapped?
well, that was the whole thing. The one
I
they
thought they
did
did
about
another one that was
years
true.
ago, that was
I don't know.
they swapped the roles where it was the
Yeah.
man that lost his memory,
Because that's okay.
because that's okay. It's a little less rapey,
It is.
Just a little.
Now, to be fair, you might be confused, Keiko, because it's also the plot of every Lifetime movie. It's trapped in a marriage.
I do watch those.
So
there we go.
Lifetime month, like stalked by my doctor or something.
I would love to. I love all those movies.
How about Unsolved Mysteries? That was on Lifetime.
Christmas movies, like cheesy Christmas movies. I'm down.
The Christmas Prince, the Points
Yes.
on a Farm.
Any of them. Whatever. Who cares? Watch them all. Give them to me.
Someone called Candace.
Sideshow once in a lifetime. Just like,
Chris gets really irritated too because I'll be watching, whatever Christmas movie, and he'll walk through the room, and I'll be like, "She's not sure if he really wants to do this, but they're gonna," and then I'll tell him exactly what's gonna happen, and he's just like, he just backs away.
they'll be ice skating by the second act.
He's like, "Why are you watching this?"
I mean, first of all, I'm there like shareware. But second, like, I do like a movie that's cheesy, but they commit.
Yeah.
And that's what Lifetime is. They're like, you could be a model, but you're going to pretend to be an actor this week. Like, that's...
And getting back to Big Trouble in Little China, the Lifetime title for this, Abducted by a Chinese Zombie.
Sure.
I mean, so I almost
My
married
zombie,
a
my lover.
Chinese ghost zombie.
Yeah, that's getting there. I don't know. I think it
See.
needs work. It needs work.
Okay, so what's better than My Zombie, My Lover?
Well, first of all, the man would not be the hero. They'd have to switch it around, right? So it would be ghost husband, perhaps. I don't know. At this point, having freed Kim Cattrall, we now have to try to get to the final boss. But unfortunately, our heroes are getting the shit kicked out of them.
Have they done the needle thing yet?
Well, hold up. So they get out, but Kim Cattrall's character is captured again. And that's when Lopan realizes, wait a second, she's got green eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I just marry two women with green eyes?
When she walks into the room with Meow,
Yes.
and she sees her
Floating.
lying on a slab, and she's like trying to wake her up, and then he comes in and he's like, "Wait a minute, you have green eyes.
You have green
I'll
eyes.
just take them both."
I'll just take you both. And so that he does this elaborate ritual to determine if they're both worthy, and they are both worthy.
They are levitating, holding on the sword.
Yeah, they're
that's what
letting,
they
and then they
do.
touch the
But
globe.
we skipped a little ahead a little bit
That's fine.
because we also have to do the part where
Is so
Egg makes them drink. I like the part when Egg makes them drink the
No,
potion.
so that was later, actually.
That's after this.
Oh, is that? I
That-
feel like that was just
Like I
before.
said, this
Oh,
blend,
this is
Let's do some shots and fight the devil.
Coming. Okay,
and they are coming.
You're right.
Happening now is happening now.
Yeah. This
And
is
they're-
now.
Yeah.
Because they realize they've lost Gracie.
Whoops.
Gracie a lot. No, no one is going to judge you for getting this movie turned around. But it is like the woman is lying on the slab and she's like, boop. She okay? Boop.
And then she like wakes up because she's in the trance, and Lopan is talking to her, like the Meow in the trance, and he gets her, and then they float up in the air, and they're hanging on to a sword, they're just dangling.
It's like the engagement ritual, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now we're engaged.
There's some sort of
Engaged.
you have to marry a woman with green eyes who can pass all these tests or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's hard to find.
It's
Probably hard to
classic.
find a green-eyed lady in China.
You know, kung fu. The mystical scene that shows that the woman is worthy.
Neon, lots of neon, and
So then we get to the wedding sequence.
this is the neon room, and I
in
really
the neon room.
I liked the neon room. I really liked I feel like there was really good imagery.
There
like
was neon around the
cinematography.
Buddhas. There was neon around the dragon.
Oh, but even, like,
neon everywhere.
Their makeup and their like headdresses
Oh,
that
yeah.
they were wearing. I just really liked all of it.
Yeah, I think I was a little kid and I saw this on TV. I remember the women in the dresses and needles, and that was
Yeah.
scary.
Well, I will also say, once we get to this third act, shit just goes crazy.
Bonkers.
Because we start with them holding on to the swords and not getting cut. Like, that's supposed to be the first sign. But we also get Thunder doing his knife display.
Yeah, there's a whole.
Then we get the Kaku demon, and then we get the eye guy, and then we get Bigfoot again.
Yeah, there was a whole scene where I think Thunder and maybe the other two are doing martial arts routines in front of Lopan's throne.
I mean, it's classic, pomp and circumstance in a kung fu movie. You've got to have these highly elaborate rituals in which very thematic and dramatic kung fu action happens.
And it's all the soundtrack because
Yeah.
what was the song? A Fifth of Beethoven?
Yeah.
Because the two women come down in the
Yeah.
in the dresses that they're wearing, led by a guy doing lightning effects with his fingers, and there's just neon. We're moments away from the roller disco.
All we need is some electric light orchestra.
And meanwhile, Kurt Russell and our heroes are like, the hell's that thing with the eyes?
And here's what like threw me, and I would say
Everything he sees, Lopan sees, or something like that.
Yeah.
so. I really liked the first 20 minutes of the movie and the last 20 minutes of the movie. All the like fighting in between, I was like, whatever. But as soon as we saw, like, as soon as they're like going to the bad guy cave, we see all the stuff with the trial of the brides, and like, I was really invested and interested, and there are really good practical effects here.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this is cool looking stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really fits in this movie.
And they need. Well, the problem is that eye thing. It's a fucking beholder from D&D.
Oh, dude.
Cute.
It's like, I don't know if something like that actually exists in like Chinese legend or lore, but it definitely fucking exists in my Dungeon Master's guide.
I think the Wild Man does because there's a Chinese Yeti thing called a Yeren.
No, that would make
That's
a lot more sense.
Even though
But this is listed right. I mean, like
eyeball of eyes.
I have to wonder if, like, freaking John Carpenter was playing Dungeons and Dragons, like, right before he wrote this. That, what would be cool? Let's put a beholder in.
Dude, there was a blunt, and he was just like, "This is in my movie, man." Like, it's right there. And to your point,
it's the '80s. Wouldn't it be the cocaine?
Beholder, man. There's got to be a beholder.
I don't know. This is a little slow pace for a Coke movie, but I was saying to your point, the Yeti does look like it escaped from a Jim Henson set. The thing is out of Labyrinth or something, which, no judgment, I'm cool with. It does feel like it's in a different movie, especially when he shows back up, and the second time he's like damp, which is alive. But while the roller disco is happening elsewhere, they're like just tearing through paper doors to get to the final elevator to get to the end of the movie, which is where we're trying to get to.
And here is where they drink the elusive, whatever that elixir is.
I was waiting for there to be a punchline of him saying, "Oh no, it was just whiskey."
But he didn't say it. But I think that was the point, like, because
they're all just giggling and on.
Yeah, and he's like, you drink this, whatever, blah blah blah. It's magic, blah blah blah, and then it just makes you feel no fear. And he's like, I do feel pretty good. And then he's like, what does he say right before he's like, does anybody else feel hot? Like, I don't know.
He was about to take his tank top off. No, it plays off like the previous episode in the original Space Jam, where he's like, this is just Michael Jordan's secret stuff. Like it's just like magic liquid he's got. Meanwhile, where the movie's actually happening, because they're about to be married, Lopan is slowly becoming human, which is necessary because if he becomes human, then he can be killed. And he's got his cocaine nails out, and he's got the sewing needle, and he's like poking himself. He's got a cocaine pinky. He's
got two of them, and he crossed them.
Oh my God!
Aren't all of his nails long?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny that I said it, kid.
Sorry.
Meanwhile, this is the stage of Mortal Kombat that we never got, but we wanted, which is that there's a glowing Buddha in the background who's raising his fist, like Buddha's known to do, of course.
Exactly. A neon glowing Buddha.
Well, the fight scene is going on, including a guy that I just called Three Stooges Man, because he's running around the loop going, whoa! Which, is your standard kung fu move.
Which is the one that Kim Cattrall shoves off a cliff?
It was just one of the random, like, wizard sorcerer guys that was assisting with the ritual.
Yeah, because at this point, like, we have our dozen or so characters with names, but also 200 extras who could all do kung fu.
That are just fighting in the background.
Which would only be better if there was a disco score.
They're under holders.
Oh, thank God. That was the only thing this can say. I do.
Dude, at what
one with kung fu fighters?
We're not allowed to make movies for legal reasons. But if we did, then we could just make a movie called The 80s. And this would be all on roller skates. And the heroes would be the exact same, but the villains would be on roller skates.
Oh my gosh. I just can't with this right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick has been doing all the cocaine.
Meanwhile, this is where we get the closest to Matt's Crouching Tiger stuff, because we have our last bosses. We have the mini bosses, which is Rain, Thunder, and Lightning. And then our final boss, which is now Giant Lopan. And each of them now have like armor and they're flippy news and everything is going on.
And Kurt Russell's got a knife in his boot.
But it turns out to be a bad idea because he kills the guy, but then he's stuck in the fetal position because the guy is on top of him. Which again, every time he's trying to be the hero, he fucks it up.
He's completely failing.
Yeah, it's really funny.
I mean, up until, of course, as the fight winds down and people start dying, which, by the way, there was a fantastic choreographed scene between Rain and Wang Chi that was just out of this world. just flying through the air, fighting each other. It's amazing.
Well, and this too is supposed to be, and Carpenter's having fun here, but this is the American fight scene kind of thing where we have the smaller guy, the underdog, the American character against the much larger dude who should win, but isn't going to. It's Ivan Drago versus Stallone and Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, the white guy is unconscious on the floor because he's trapped under someone else. So it's Wang Chi who's the actual hero of the story.
Yeah, that's the best part. Is that throughout this, Wang Chi is the actual hero who is effective at getting things done. But Jack Burton's just bumbling through, taking credit.
And now we have the stupidest part of the movie, which is Lo Pan versus Aang with their magic ring.
Oh my gosh.
Shadow people are fighting on that.
I was totally getting Mel Brooks, the Schwartz battle.
Use the Schwartz.
I am not embarrassed to say I had the exact same thought. Like, and it's also like in Mardi Gras colors, it's green versus purple.
It is neon bullshit.
We left San Francisco and entered Stupid City.
You simply said Mardi Gras. I was about to wonder if Lo Pan has friends on the other side.
This is classic 80s. It is full 80s neon nonsense.
And while this is happening, lightning is just blowing shit up.
It's just randomly shooting lightning here, there.
Oh my god! And I guess it's Rain now has a sword and he's flying around and gets thrown into Buddha. Like, because if we're gonna burn the fucker down, burn motherfucker, burn. Like, this is all falling apart, and Jack Burton regains consciousness, and the only person he almost actually hits is Kim Cattrall. It's like, where are we going? And he turns like he's gonna punch her.
Well, yeah, because Lo Pan has run off with Meow and
Meow.
And now he's trying to finish the ritual and murder her.
Right. Meanwhile, Egg is throwing around explosives and blowing up everything else because I guess the set had to be cleared by Tuesday. They were just like, we'll bring it down for you. And the Yeti shows back up at this point for his musical number.
So everyone chases after Jack Burton and Gracie, as well as Wang Chi, or Dennis Dunn Wang Chi, whatever. And so they stumble upon Lo Pan trying to finish the ritual. This is like my favorite part. Jack Burton throws the knife. It misses Lo Pan. Lo Pan goes and picks it up, and he just makes a couple of jokes, and he's like, "Die, Jack Burton," and he throws it, and Jack Burton catches it and throws it right back and gets him in the head. It's like the one heroic thing he does the entire movie, and it's freaking awesome.
No, it is done without any fanfare.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it moves on pretty quickly after that. Like, this happens.
They're all a little shocked and crazy, just like, let's go.
You killed a god. Awesome. And it's also like,
it's all in the reflexes.
And it's also like, there's a reason why they actually like Jack Burton, and it's because he's cool in the situation. But at the same time, while he's doing his heroic thing, he has her cheap lipstick on his face.
Oh, yeah, because he just kissed Gracie, and he's got her lipstick all over his mouth. And you're just looking at him going, God, this is so ridiculous.
He can't even have the hero moment. He gets the girl and still fucks it up. But again, like, it is. I can't emphasize enough how much he's like, oh, Jack. And he throws it, and Jack catches it and just fucking murders the guy. He goes down like brick. And then Thunder's the last one left.
Yeah.
And he shows up, he sees his fallen, I guess, master.
Daddy?
Zaddy. He finds his Zaddy.
It's sad.
And he inflates like a balloon.
And it just explodes. Boom. Explodes.
Oh, God.
But hold up. He wasn't the last one because it was lightning.
Yes. By the way, this is a joke also that Naked Gun rips off, where he stucks the hose in the guy's mouth, turns up the water, and the guy inflates and it pops. I've seen Naked Gun a lot.
Yes, you have.
I have. But yes, then we end up with lightning.
Well, they're all trying to escape by going up, climbing out of holes, etc. Lightning does this whole I'm going to call the lightning and ride it up, and then they just drop a statue on his head. Boom, done.
I will say too, I wish I knew any Chinese. I don't. But in all the lightning, there's Chinese characters that appear throughout the entire thing, and in fact, right at the end when lightning is about to be crushed, the last thing he sends up is Chinese characters, and I don't know what it means. It's just something I noticed. And my wife does not take Chinese. She's taking Japanese, but she was noticing, oh, those are characters as they go. And every time I paused it, there were characters in the lightning, which is a detail that no one bothered with. And yet at the same time, that's cool that they made the effort. I'll take it with. And at the end of this, there's literally rent-a-cops. There's everyone. Egg is throwing smoke bombs. They all pile into Jack's truck, which had previously been stolen, and now they're breaking out.
Yeah, they're breaking out of the way his bulletproof truck because so many gunshots have been levied at that truck, yet there's no holes in it and it runs fine. Yes.
Well, it's because he's telling hard truths over the radio, and everyone wants to stop the truth. He has... After COVID, he had some opinions that no one wanted to read.
I can relate to that.
And God help me, I do love the cops showing up 10 minutes too late.
Yeah.
They're oh, they're done. The end of this movie is just pure catharsis because, the married couple is kissing, Kim Cattrall's, watching.
Oh, and this is where, what was it like? They say, would you like to take Gracie out or something? Nope, I'm done. He adopted this whole, it was sort of like this whole I love you, I know moment,
I can't be tied down, babe.
Yeah, it was so funny and so 80s action here.
Yeah.
I'm a lone wolf, I can't be tied down.
I mean, didn't she want to ride in his truck with him?
Yeah.
And she's like, get one of those trucks with a little apartment in the back.
But I mean, and maybe it's just me, but I like the reference to They Live as he puts on those big sunglasses at the end and then rides off into the fog with what looks like a handle of whiskey as he starts cracking out, and he's like, and that reminds me something else about Ruby Ridge. And then, we just end the movie with Jack's Conspiracy Corner on the CV radio.
And the Yeren is in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ripe for a sequel.
Could you imagine?
Which they ended up making in comic book form because this movie didn't make any money.
And supposedly, apparently, they're making now, currently.
In production.
With The Rock.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. There's some people who need to work less, and The Rock is one of them. And it's not that I don't like him; it's just that we're oversaturated with him. I feel the same way with Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like the guy, he just doesn't need to come out with something every 6 months.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be in the room where it happened?
That was 12 years ago now.
Who's Mario?
Mario, Chris Pratt?
Yeah, him.
No, I'm done with Chris Pratt.
You're done with him.
It's me, ethnic character Chris Pratt. Yeah, no, I'm married to Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter. No, I'm doing fine financially. You want me to be who? Yeah, no, I can be the Burger Time guy. I can do that for you. And that, my friends, is Big Trouble in Little China, version 2.0. Now, Matt, you read your own review. Did you listen to the episode again before you did this?
No, I didn't.
I have not listened to a single episode of our show. Is it any good?
I can't remember. I'd have to go find that. I have to go find that bootleg site that had all those older episodes on it and dig it out.
That's true. Someone did bootleg us. We're good enough to be bootlegged, ladies and gentlemen. So you should like and subscribe.
Which if you can find it, has the original episode of the episode of The Guyver we did. I think was this before or after Big Trouble in Little China?
Oh my, that was rough. I have no idea. I could look at the list, but I'm not going to. Keiko, you can go first. What was your thoughts on this now?
Yeah, so I know Nick had asked me like a second before we started recording if I liked the movie, and I said not really. I would say it's like half and half for me. There were things that were really funny and fun and cool, like near the end and right at the beginning. I didn't like all the fighting though, like all that action-y stuff. I just want funny stuff. But I would say if you like this kind of movie, definitely give it a watch.
Matt?
I liked it, I think, the second time better than I liked it the first time. And it's on Tubi now, so you can watch it for free. Did Tubi even exist 10 years ago?
No.
Count it.
No. John?
So, I mean, it is a great movie. I mean, John Carpenter does a fantastic job. It is great. It's a great action movie. It's a great comedy. It's just all sorts of fun. It's got a delightful, like, 1980s vibe. You can't go wrong with this movie.
I'm going to say Keiko's right, but I like the movie, which is that, no. If this was, say, a Zucker Abrams Zucker production, the action would either be shorter or funnier. If this was, say, Black Dynamite, the action would be much more violently extreme. The parody is in everything else, but the action is just straight kung fu.
Okay. I'm now imagining a crossover with Black Dynamite, fiendish Lo Pan and his kung fu treachery.
But that would make it more what she wants.
Yeah.
Which I'm not opposed to. I'm just saying that is something which 10 years later would have fixed this movie another way.
Yeah, I think leaning either way, and like my personal preference would be to lean more toward the comedy.
Silly.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, I like this movie just fine. I've seen a lot of the movies it's referencing, but I agree with you in that I will see something like Enter the Fist, Kentucky Fried Movie, Naked Gun, Black Dynamite more often because that leans more into the silliness than this. However, I do really like this movie because it has the John Carpenter earnestness, which those movies don't have. There's something likable about all of these heroic characters in a way that parodies don't often get right. But regardless, I do have a lot of fun doing this movie. I like stupid shit like this, which is why I founded a podcast where it turns out we talk about a lot of stupid shit. But in the meantime, next week, we're doing our last of reviving our first 100 as we revisit Batman 1989, a movie we did in the first 20 before I barely knew what a podcast was 11 years ago. I have 2 children since then, and I'm on my second house since then. And my bones, they hurt all the time. So stay tuned next week and every future week so I can afford more ibuprofen.
And buy my books, because I'll probably get there somewhere too.
That needs medicine too.
Desperately needs help. Have you read his stories? He needs you. Please. Night everywhere. Myopia Movies is a podcast production of Dude Letter Podcasting and is produced by Nick Hoffman. It is edited by Nerd and Daniel Suttis and is hosted by Nick Hoffman, with production assistance by Matthew Quinn, Daniel Suttis, and Nerd. The theme song is Surf Shimmy by Kevin MacLeod from Incomptech.com. Licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 4 license, Creative Commons/licenses by /4.0. Thanks.
The bacon.